It's got 13% battery on it.
Can you
Get a battery pack?
It's okay. I've got the laptop on anyway, so I'm going to go get the plug and plug it into the USB. So we'll be all right. It's just I want the world to burn right now.
Nice.
No,
nice.
time for
I've
podcasting.
got 18%.
Oh, what?
Right, we better get a move on.
Welcome to the Conquistabores. Tonight in the Conquistabores, they enter the digital realm to finally decide what is the greatest video game of all time. Inserting their coins tonight. Saturday night, Filled Oil. Fire Pro Euan Taylor. Here comes the Cameron Phillips and Geordie Allen Milburn. Only tonight on the Conquistabores.
This is a very professionally put together podcast.
Well, always.
Isn't it?
This is the Scottish Sun approved professional Conquistabores podcast.
Oh, yeah. Hi, new listeners.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
This is what it's always like. Don't worry.
So to summarise, dear listeners, because we've started now, because why not?
Do we not have a proper intro?
This is it. Me and Cameron turned up on time. Would you say, Cameron?
It was 9 o'clock, yeah.
9 o'clock, which was the prescribed podcasting time. Alan has turned up drunk.
I was told 9:30.
No, you weren't.
No, you weren't.
Oh, we're doing that game, are we? Right.
Alan's had roughly a crate of brown ale. Someone threw Euan down a well.
And still is down a well.
Still down a well. Rescued himself.
Yeah.
Hi.
Now
He's
we can
back.
hear him.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. It's
That
now
well is really deep.
now 21:35 hours.
You know, I actually have something I'd like to say.
Oh, hello.
Go on.
So here's my carefully prepared speech. Phil,
Hi.
go fuck yourself.
Okay, right. I was going to put some music under that, but I think I'll bother now.
It's on. Okay, it's on. Okay.
I think this is one of the best intros we've ever done.
No.
Well, I'm not eating anything.
Alan in the
No,
bath.
this is it.
Alan in the
Al's
bath.
not eating anything, he's not in the bath.
Oh, you mean best as in the most professional?
Yes. As in, in theory the most straightforward, because no one's on a bus or in a bath
Yeah.
or
Eating food.
eating kebabs or whatever.
Admittedly, that makes the show 90% better.
Exactly.
Well, usually does, yeah. I would say
Let's be honest.
It best in the sense that it's one of the most sort of like we're all sat down with our full attention.
I am trying to wrestle technology hell right now.
You are in technological hell because you were appearing, but then we could hear
Didn't
you
appear.
barely, and then it just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway,
I'm kind of like Madame Lacan in a way.
all those
I don't know whether the Sun readers would appreciate it.
no, all those
Oh
new.
my god!
We've got to think of the new audience now, Euan. Come on.
Yeah, the new that is effectively Ewan's first words to the throng of listeners we will now get from the Scottish Sun.
I'm trying to organise the kind of page 3 audio, the audio page 3. I'm not quite sure it's going to work, but that'll be in there at some point in the edit. I'll be there in the edit.
So I should put my clothes back on. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
This isn't a video cast today. No,
Not a video cast, no.
I shaved and everything. God damn
I
it!
thought you were just really warm.
Well, that would explain the ineptitude of my penis, I suppose, wouldn't it?
Well,
Technically, if we do the wrestling podcast, we should really podcast in wrestling gear, shouldn't we?
Well,
I've got my
So-
lucha mask.
So I'd be dressed as Jimmy the Anvil Neidhart. I'll go with that look.
You would.
Cameron, your wrestling outfit for the podcast?
My wrestling outfit for the podcast would be, I think, a kind of traditional Mexican luchador effort.
Oh, nice. Al would be Hulk Hogan.
Well,
Of course.
I'm currently dressed as Naked Midian.
What a fantastic cosplay.
It's quite easy, isn't it? It's quite cheap to do.
Although the risk of arrest is always there.
Always there.
Yep.
Being dragged up by the police. No, officer, I'm making Midian, honest.
Can't you see the quality of my cosplay?
Do you remember? Late 90s. WWF gimmick. Come on. Take me out of the van.
On the subject of naked people with the really shit, this is not wrestling related, but I need to mention it. Did anyone see the article about a man who went to a beer garden and had a very interesting time?
I think you shared it on Facebook.
I did. For those who have not seen this, a man went to a beer garden, I think in North England, took 5 hits of cocaine, and proceeded to masturbate for 40 minutes till he was stopped by the police.
So what's your side of the story, Al?
I'm sure it was an hour fucking 40 minutes.
It probably feels like that every time, Al, but that's a separate story altogether.
It's like, what was it, in Chris Morris's Jam? Where the porn stars get the gush. And they can't stop ejaculating. Like that.
Should we just get on with it then?
Yeah. Segue out of that one, motherfuckers. Go on.
I think we
segue
should be.
Go on.
Can we?
Go on. Segue
Can we? Let's
We should
segue
be-
into.
We should be gushing into the full force flow that will be this podcast.
Yes.
Fucking A. This month it's a round table,
It is.
and
We are-
it's kind of harking back to our previous podcasting careers of video gaming,
Yes.
and we're combining video games and wrestling, and we thought we'd have a good wholehearted discussion and a nice friendly debate about the best wrestling video game.
You mean we'll have a chat for like half an hour, then the winner will be whatever one you have already picked previously before the show starts?
Oh,
Yeah.
controversy.
Yeah? Is that what's going to happen? Because that's what normally happens.
I'll let you know at the end, Phil.
Spoilers.
My nomination is the Bushwhackers.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
The best
Where
wrestling
you-
game is the Bushwhackers.
The best wrestling video game is Bushwhackers.
Dun, 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 dun.
God's sake.
You go around the maze finding sardines. And,
What?
Jameson points you in the right direction, and
It's like a reskin of Pac-Man, though, with a Bushwhacker
Yeah,
loop.
it's like,
This is like an incredible shit crystal maze.
Who'd be the ghosts? It'll be the Beverly Brothers. It'll be 2 of them. Who'd be the other 2 ghosts? The Rougeaus.
the Rouges and the Belly Brothers. Yeah. And when you take a pill, you can just walk around and give them the old rub.
No,
Oh my
the-
God.
no, the power pill is like Butch. When you get him, you form the Bushwhacker battering ram.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Brilliant.
this needs to be a game right now.
Let's get coding this shit.
Get it on the App Store, 99p. Job done.
Job done. We can all retire. We'll actually make some money off this podcast.
Oh,
What they get sued by
Anyway.
the Bushwhackers.
yeah.
Who's wanting to go first in this wonderful?
Shall I go
I'll go
first?
first.
This is no-
Me.
Oh,
Alan,
Jesus.
yes.
All right, Al.
Because Alan, I would imagine, is now on like 17% battery.
and that's I don't know about my iPad, but anyway, right.
Yes.
Let's get on with this. I don't want to go first,
Oh, God.
Right.
Yeah.
but can I just tell you my story first?
Oh,
Go on,
God.
I hope this isn't going to be too long. What's the time?
Oh, God.
20 to 10.
Get settled in, boys.
Right.
In for a long
Don't-
night.
Don't worry, it should be. I reckon about 4 minutes past 10 I should be done. Right. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my history of wrestling. I'm sure we've all got different ways of how we got into wrestling and such like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep it clean for
It
those
sounds
who
like
aren't,
paedophilia,
right?
that does. You got some ways you got into bondage, haven't we, boys? Yes.
What do you mean into? I've always been into it.
It's like that's a leading question.
Anyway, Alan.
One day, somebody brought this WE magazine into school.
Right.
And I flicked through it and I thought, this seems alright. Then God, you know what? This podcast used to be serious journalism, eh? Now it's just full of homosexual jokes.
Who said about anything about homosexual, Al? You assumed that. How dare you assume our sexuality, you dirty bastard.
Anyway, Alan, right?
I think we're going to go up to 11 minutes past 10 now. Anyway.
Aww.
I was reading some magazines and such like and all the rest of it. Anyway, and then I discovered you could get toys. And toys is one of my favourite love. So I thought, right, I'm gonna get into this. This is something I want to be. I want to watch this. I want it, right. Could I watch a match? No, because we didn't have Sky. And that was it. I thought, bastard, I want to see this. Now, I didn't even know the rules of the wrestling. To a degree. So my friend came round and explained the rules. You waiting for this? What a load of bollocks. He said, if you have a tag team match, right? If you pin your opponent in the corner for the 3 count, which obviously ends the match. No, not in his rule book. The other man can get in the ring and you can have a 2-on-1 contest.
So your friend invented TNA before they existed?
Yes. So anyway, that's the only rules I knew because I hadn't watched it. And then a friend down the road got WrestleMania's Greatest Hits.
Oh no.
So technically the first match...
VHS from here.
Yeah, the first wrestling match I ever saw, ironically, was the main event from WrestleMania 1.
Oh God.
Wow.
And I just wanted, I didn't care, I just wanted to watch as much of it as I could, so I watched that. There's 4 matches on that I will on VHS. I must have watched it about 3 times. And then I watched a couple of, I don't care, there were jobber matches. Oh my God, watching the jobber match was fantastic. I just, see Vince, this is what you should do now. More is less. So anyway, I enjoyed...
Well, it's called lack of booking.
So I enjoyed watching all that. It was fantastic. And then I finally watched the Rumble 92, first pay-per-view. Got to lend to WrestleMania 4, so watched a bit more wrestling. And then WrestleMania 8. And then I think I've dated it to around Summer 92, before SummerSlam I think it was. I went on all it to Berwick. You must remember Berwick. You must know Berwick, Cameron, not too far from yours.
I have been...
Your neck of the woods?
A little bit further, but yeah, I have been plastered in a doorway somewhere in Berwick in my time, but carry on. I've broken into a hotel in Berwick as well.
Alright.
Wow, this podcast's taking a dark turn.
But by the by, carry on.
So, I got this magazine anyway, this wrestling magazine. That's what I was trying to date to see if I can get the exact date. I got a free WE pin badge, which I've still got, WF pin badge, I should say. I've still got. Anyway, this is where the plot thickens and it ties it all in.
Please do.
I went to the arcade. They had WrestleFest there.
Oh,
I told you he'd bring this one.
Yep, you called it.
I was absolutely blown away by it. To the point where I just used to stand and watch the demo screen for about half an hour, just to go all over the things. And I remember I wrote it all down, wrote down all the moves, wrote down all the wrestlers. So what I'm saying is, sadly for me, that game set the benchmark so high for wrestling video games. When I finally got my wrestling challenge on the Nintendo, it was a bit...
What a climb down.
And then we got WrestleMania, which I don't know if that's even worse. There's 6 characters, and when you beat up Andre the Giant, he turns pink.
Hey. First of all, right, WrestleMania is not my pick, but do not besmirch that game. That game got me through childhood.
What, the one with the 6 characters for the Super?
Yes.
For the normal Nintendo, sorry.
For the NES, yeah.
Yeah, the one where you used to get, like, Honky Tonk Man used to get a guitar and he used to give him energy.
I thought it was great.
Anyway, so and then we moved on to the Super Nintendo, and we got WrestleMania, Super WrestleMania, and I played it to death, but it is so dire if you look back, because every character is the same. There's no special moves.
Yeah, there's no finishes at all.
There's not even a tournament mode or anything. You can just have one-on-ones, tag teams, or Survivor Series. There's no tournament or beat everybody and nothing like that. So it baffles me. But But anyway, that was my little story of how I felt the computer game benchmark was set very, very high, and I'm going to leave my pick to when it was finally beaten. Anyway, on with you, boys.
I thought you were going first.
No,
I said my story was first.
Oh God!
But his pick comes later. Philip, it's all part of the plan. Anyway,
Sweet Christmas.
I think Phil should go next.
Okay.
All right.
I picked because everyone I think is going to pick a certain few games, which I think are like held up as the best games for wrestling.
That's the whole point of this podcast, is it not?
Yeah, I know, but like they all fall within a certain fighting genre. So I thought I'll go and step outside that a little bit and pick something like a little bit different, just to kind of show.
Have you picked Simpsons Wrestling?
Can someone mute him from the call, please?
So I've already hung up on him.
The call. No, what I picked for my pick as the best wrestling game is a PC game called Extreme Warfare Revenge.
No chance, that's what you got. Up against a machine too strong. Pretty politicians buying souls for run song puppets. Won't find their place in line. But I am straight go wreck your finger now, boy, 'cause it's just a matter of time. 'Cause you've got no chance. No chance in hell. You've got no chance.
Nice.
Yes,
Very nice.
I'm not going to pretend I know what it is.
Well, it goes back to 2002, and what it is basically a wrestling booker simulation.
Yep.
So,
Al just came.
Hang on, I used to have something similar to this until my PC legitimately exploded.
Al, imagine
sure
Champ
you
Manager
played this.
for wrestling. Imagine that.
Can you choose what stadiums you book and stuff?
You can pick anything you want.
Hey,
Why am I
pick.
selling this?
Yeah, you pipe down. So basically, it's I think it was first developed in '95 through some kind of like early versions of it, and then the most famous or the one that's lasted longest came out in 2002, which is Extreme Warfare Revenge, which I think Euan just invoked the word Championship Manager.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's essentially Championship Manager but with wrestling. Now, not to get too deep into the lore of Championship Manager for a minute or two, but where this kind of goes back to probably like Championship Manager 97-98 and how it looks and how it actually functions.
Yeah.
So it's kind of basic looking, bit rough around the edges, but it's got all the details in there. We kind of set up your you kind of pick like a promotion, WWF or ECW or whatever, or you kind of start on your own and build up from there. You bring in the wrestlers, you book your champions, you book the feuds, you book the TV tapings, you book pay-per-views, everything, bottom to top, you're booking it because you are essentially Vince McMahon in this game. You're booking everything. Now, with it being released in 2002, you might think, oh, that probably means that the rosters are out of date significantly by about a good 2 decades near enough. Well, no, you'd be wrong. Because of the popularity of this game, this still gets updated by people with new rosters. In fact, I picked up again earlier on this year because it's a freeware game, so you can just download it. I got it to work on my Mac through several various ways, and you can download a patch that gives it like this year's roster. So it's got the NXT roster in there, Nakamura's on NXT, I think it was start of the year. You can mod it and fix it to basically work as you want. And I wanted to pick this one because a lot of the other games that I think you guys are going to pick, they're basically the heart fighting games. It means you've got like a 2-player contest to one person to win, which doesn't really reflect how wrestling works. Because
no,
what you've got 2 guys fighting, it's not really a fight. It's a performance in order to get a reaction of the audience. So playing on like an online WWF 2K whatever game doesn't really make sense because you're trying to crowbar it into a Street Fighter mold, but it's not a Street Fighter. It's Guitar Hero. That's the probably way a wrestling game would work. You kind of build it up to that kind of thing. So, and what I think like a true wrestling fan, they don't necessarily want to win. They want to be the wrestler to fight. They want to be in charge. You talk about everybody. Hear about wrestlers sitting in the car, booking the territory. They want to be the booker. Fans always sitting here like us, saying, "Oh, they should do this, they should do that." We want to be the booker. It's the booker role that people who follow wrestling really want to be. So having a game based around that, being the booker, makes perfect sense to me. Which probably makes this one of the best wrestling games because you can experience the whole thing from the other side of the fence. People. It's just the same thing that came in with Championship Manager. It's kind of a job people look at and go, you know what? If I was given a chance, I could be an ace football manager. And Championship Manager gave them gave people that kind of chance to pretend to be that. And same thing with this, you get a chance to look through some spreadsheets, thinking, you know what, we're going to keep 3MB together. We're going to push them as the top heel group, give them all the belts, and it'll be the best thing ever. So that's why I think EWR Wrestling on the PC / whatever you can make it to work on is the best wrestling game because it gets you to be the main job which everybody wants to be, which is the booker, the one in charge of the Vince McMahon, the one who's there. So that goes back to 2002, so it is a little bit of a pig to get working on machines, but it is getting up to date. There are after that, like the guy who made it started to make kind of paid for versions. I think it's called Total Extreme Wrestling.
Yeah.
Double check. Yeah, so that kind of came out in 2004, I think. But this is kind of like, again, to refer back to Championship Manager, when Championship Manager became Football Manager. And I think it became like a different kind of complexity to Football Manager than there was within the previous Championship Manager games. Which is why EWR has kind of kept its popularity, because people want that kind of slightly... It is complex, but it's not as complex and niggly as the Total Extreme Wrestling games. It's still got that kind of layer of... because it's, I think, programmed through a similar system, it's a bit simpler to work. So that's why this one's kind of hung around. And it's free, which is always the best price. So, yeah, that's my pick for the best wrestling game ever, is a near 20-year-old, cruddy-looking, text-based wrestling management game, because it gives you the chance to be the person everybody wants to be, and that's Vince McMahon.
I have played this in 2002, and I distinctly remember giving Mark Jindrak a vampire gimmick and making him the world champion of my Ring of Honor style small federation.
See, that's what you can do.
And he was still pap even then. just to advise everyone.
Yeah.
Still rubbish.
Well, the thing, there are the kind of two ways of doing it. You can you can take over the WWE and mould it to how you want it to work and all that, or you can start from a backyard wrestling federation.
I know people who've played this game who started. Yeah, I know people who started a backyard wrestling federation that's hardcore. I know people who've played this game entirely having a federation for female wrestling.
Yeah.
And doing it that way. Yeah, you can pretty much take whatever the hell you want and then take it from there. So yeah, from that point of view, it's amazing. It's certainly something very different as well. I would argue that some other games have tried to kind of riff on it a little bit. I think the General Manager mode in the later SmackDown vs. Raw games kind of tries to be a bit like this. But obviously you're kind of constrained by the WWE license then. You can't sort of obviously have Ring of Honor guys in there and sign
crazy with it or anything, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think it's it being that different mindset of it, you're being the booker, so you're in control of it, as opposed to a fighting game based on a sport that isn't really a fight, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's supposed you're supposed to be designing a show and getting the audience figures up, and that's essentially what wrestling is.
Yeah.
You will dictate to the computer who wins each match.
Yeah, and then the stats of the wrestlers will determine how over the match gets them from there, won't it? So all the stats you get in Football Manager, to refer back to that again.
Yeah.
But
I enjoyed it.
There is that dichotomy in that you're in a video game where you want to win, but endings in matches are already set, so it's not really a contest. So how can you have a contest in a video game?
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of. We're going to get into a discussion later on, probably, about how a lot of wrestling games just portray themselves as fighting games and skip past that kind of idea. Yeah. I think also, without wishing to, I'm defending your choice here.
Go for it. That's how it should be.
But there's a reason for that, Phil, and it'll all become clear. I just like making him paranoid.
Fight over here, man.
Yeah, I know. I think one of the main sort of giveaways of if a wrestling game is still like it was good at the time is if people are still updating it now.
Yeah, I mean there aren't that many games where you can kind of say that, really, are there?
Exactly.
Like versions of Counter Strike, maybe.
Yeah, but I think it's like if they have a football game that has one of them, people will update the rosters.
Yeah. Rather
than moving on to the next series.
I think there's people who still play Championship Managers 3 or 97, 98.
There's still people playing 97, 98 and still carrying on.
Technically, those are the best versions. Right.
I was going to say PES.
Yeah,
there's,
well.
There's people who will update like PES 6 on the PS2.
Yeah.
To like today's stats, because it's one of the best ones for gameplay.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So they kind of got it right with this one, and people. Well, it's good that people still around to kind of keep going.
I was going to say, after this, when he was taking money for it, he couldn't really use the official license. We had to use made-up names, didn't he?
Yeah, to basically create a whole pseudo roster.
This is Adam Ryland we're talking about for the main.
Yeah, the name of the guy who developed the original one. So it might be a shame that the kind of the paid-for versions that actually support someone's life and career are not quite as popular as the freeware one from 2002. But that's just the way it is sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah, pretty much from a legal standpoint.
I think it's like the low bar for entry. It's just downloading. Well, it was a bit for a PC user. It'd be like downloading the couple of files you need. The game, downloading the game and a couple of files to mod it to get the new roster in and job done.
Yeah, pretty much.
A few more hoops on the Mac, but it is possible to get it running on a Macintosh. So for the Mac listeners out there.
I thought Macs just worked.
Yeah, they work, but they can't run exe files. That's what I'm saying.
No, but something. I'm guessing your virtual machines. What's used there?
Yeah, I use a program called Wine that wraps it in the skin that Macs can view. So did it through there. I got it working. I was like, look at me, I'm a hacker. I'm like Robert Redford in Sneakers. Oh yes.
Jesus Christ.
Sneakers is one of the best films ever made. Thank you very much.
I was just saying,
film, hands down.
I'm not disagreeing.
Thank you. Better not. You'll be off this podcast quick. I tell you.
Is that you just about done then, Phil?
Yeah, because I'm talking about sneakers now. So
you are. Yeah. I was going to say you've gone from that to Robert Redford.
So Extreme Warfare Wrestling. Google it. It's good.
Yeah, it's genuinely really good. Actually, to be fair,
really good. It is for somebody who wants a different kind of wrestling game. That's the one.
You don't actually get to see the wrestling in it, though, do you? It's all text based.
Because it's 2002. I think any kind of I suppose you could have they could have crowbarred in a Fire Pro Star engine into it at the time, maybe. But
no,
maybe
even better. Sort of steal the champ manager idea and have two GIFs fighting, or have two images. Yeah, sure, why not?
Just running into each other. One of my also rans, which I don't think you can get anymore, was a TNA role-playing game, wrestling game for the iPhone. That was really good.
Really?
Yeah, I had it for my iPod Touch.
You said TNA and really good in the same sentence.
I know, but it's nothing to do with the actual TV show. It's like a role-playing game.
Right.
So it's like a turn-based wrestling game for the iPhone. I don't even know if it's available in the store anymore. I might have a look and see if it's on there.
Okay.
That was a good one. That was a one I liked, but that was also around. But EWR, that's my pick. Best wrestling game ever.
I wonder what the win conditions are for that TNA game. Is it leave TNA and go somewhere else?
I think so, yeah. You just delete the app.
Gosh.
Oh, it's true though.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Probably. Does Alan want to go now? Second place then, come on.
No, I'll go last.
You go last.
I hate when
Okay.
he goes last.
Well, then.
Terrified when he goes last.
Yeah, it's never
Does-
good.
You want to go now?
I'll go now.
Okay, go on.
So I have a story as well, but unlike Al, it's not going to take 30 minutes to get to the end.
It would have took
listen
less
up,
if
Al.
people stop interrupting us, eh?
Oh,
Aye.
Oh, yeah.
shots fired. Okay. So we're going to go back in time to the year 2000. So, the PlayStation 1 is sort of beginning to rise up as the premier console of choice. Now, I'd seen this since it was released and I desperately wanted one. So, what basically happened was we had a static caravan, we'd go there, and one day we went there and there was a box there that was wrapped up. So myself and my brother were kind of like, what's this? He says, go and open it. And we did, and what was inside was a PlayStation 1, 2 controllers, a memory card, and a copy of WWF SmackDown.
Like the original SmackDown.
The very first one.
Wow.
Now, at the time, my exposure to wrestling video games was restricted to WWF WrestleMania on the NES.
Yeah.
I had it for the Amiga,
So-
to be fair. I had it for the Amiga.
Yeah, for those of you who've not played this game, don't play it. It's awful. it's terrible. But we put this game on. Now, we were playing on a small portable TV at first. I think the screen was maybe, I don't know. Like you imagine, don't remember the portable TV you used to get? You could have the handle, you could carry it about.
14 inches.
Not even that.
Not even that.
No,
Christ.
very small.
Alright.
But I think we may have played about at least 100 hours on it. And to give some backstory, the games prior to this one were In Your House, which was in 1996, and then Acclaim's foray into it with Warzone and Attitude. Attitude, which would evolve into the ECW series of games a couple of years later.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if you guys are aware, but those games are terrible.
Attitude's kind of the video game that got me back into wrestling, though, alongside Warzone. From my 3-year hiatus.
Okay.
I know they're god awful, and I've tried to play them fairly recently. Within the last year, I've tried to play Attitude, and it's
Right.
terrible because it is.
Yeah.
You're right, but those are the games that got me back into wrestling after 3 years of being out. And I don't no idea why I bought Warzone, but I bought it. Didn't have a clue who half the people were, but then carried on playing it because I thought it was hilariously funny, and it was great.
Okay.
You didn't know who the headbangers were?
Nope.
Well. So, basically, to give some backstory, this was THQ's and Yuke's first foray into wrestling video games, I believe. I may be
It was
wrong there, but
THQ's first foray, but Ukes had designed games before.
okay. So they did design games before. This was the first video. So, to give some context, the game sold 1.9 million copies worldwide. Now, consider this is the year 2000. That's a lot of copies for a wrestling game. It got platinum status in Europe and also was a 2-time best-selling game in the UK. Now think about that. Think about the 2000. Think about where we are gaming-wise. A wrestling game is the twice top-selling game in the UK. Now, at the same time, this was obviously the height of the Attitude Era. Sky were pushing the WWF like there was no tomorrow, and it felt that you really couldn't escape it regardless of where you went.
And it was on Channel 4 as well.
Yes. Mae Young's tits we may never forget. Anyway, so with SmackDown, you had a roster of 36 wrestlers. Now, considering I played my last game, I had 6 to choose from. Having 6 times the number and having it reasonably up to date was amazing. Because you had people like Chris Jericho, who only just debuted not that long ago.
Yep.
You had the Dudleys, again, not very long there. You had other such fantastic superstars as Ken Shamrock.
Yep.
You also had Steve Blackman, who I had a kind of obsession with at the time. I don't know why.
Head cheese.
That might be it.
Definitely head cheese.
I will never forget the little head cheese at WrestleMania 2000 that gets destroyed at the end of the match.
Bless him.
Greatest moment in history. And as Phil mentioned earlier on, it is kind of a fighting game, but at the same time you can grapple in it. It's very much, I'm going to get shot down with this, but it's kind of like Fire Pro in a way, that you hit a combination of buttons and you do the move, but unlike Fire Pro, you can hit the move whenever you want, whereas in Fire Pro you've actually got to build up to it.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean. So you can hit like a suplex straight, where in Fire Pro you might start with an arm drag and then build up to a suplex and then build up to something else.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
But also as well, the number of modes available you could play. I think there was like 6 modes. You'd create a superstar, which was hours of entertainment. I don't know if I should share this fact, but I did create a Jimmy Savile at one point.
Wow.
I was a young boy at the time, and I thought he was great.
So were a lot of the other people.
We didn't know.
We don't know. Well, some people knew, they just couldn't see anything, I suppose. But that's a different story for another time. And also, you could create your own pay-per-view. Now, the hilarity that was had with this, because unlike the newer WWF games, you could have mixed matches. You could have men fight women, you could have like mixed tags, blah blah blah. So you could have the hilarious situation where you could have Ivory as your champion, and you could have random tag teams as well. I think what really stuck with me this game is the fact that it also had a sort of career/season mode in it, where basically you started off at the bottom and you had to work your way through the belts to eventually get to the WWF Championship. And you could either pick a wrestler or you could create your own and go that way. And I think it was just so much fun just to mess about, play about, kind of like EWR in a way, only you could see what was going on. You could watch it all play out and have some really quite hilarious situations that I don't believe this one let you put your own text in. I think that's a later one, if I'm right.
I think it was, yeah.
Because I've seen some clips online and some people have got way too much time on their hands. And then some people should be locked up for the insanity they've created. But I think for me, just because of, and also the fact it was such a revolutionary game at the time, you know, there's nothing like this before, and the fact that people are still selling it now, and it's actually, for a PlayStation 1 game, it's retained its value quite well as well.
Has it?
Well, I mean, I'm looking just now on Amazon, and people are selling a copy for £5 to £10 for a PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah, that's okay, in good nick.
In good nick, yeah. Whereas you could buy a copy of SmackDown Shut Your Mouth for 1 pence.
And why not?
1 whole pence.
One whole penny.
Pence. Value for money. Yeah.
Yes. So
This game did have the quickest turnaround between the first one and the sequel, though.
true. I think it was the following year. I think SmackDown 2.
No, it was the same year.
Was it?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
The original SmackDown came out in April 2000.
Okay.
SmackDown 2, Know Your Role, or whatever it was called, I can't remember, came out at Christmas 2000.
Really?
It was around about 8 months.
Well then.
It was quite bonkers.
SmackDown 2 Know Your Role came out. Oh shit. Okay.
It was I distinctly remember it being the biggest, like the shortest turnaround.
Yep, but it also holds the record for the best-selling combat sports game on a single format, with 3.2 million copies sold.
I remember it being quite mental at the time for having a lot of backstage stuff,
Yeah, you could mess with backstage.
and that was a real big novelty.
You could go out the ring. You didn't even need to set it as a hardcore match. You can go out the ring, and then I think it was like flashing arrows or something you'd go towards. And then,
Yeah, I think there's flashing arrows and you press L1.
yeah, and you would then go through.
Load it up the other.
Like in
Arena
real
load
life.
it up.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's-
I can see, like that Roman Reigns Strowman match. They went backstage. They saw the flashing arrow, then they pressed up.
yeah,
And
totally.
they win.
Or,
Before
or the match where
sort of carried out.
well, also there's the match where Kane's fighting Raven, and Kane runs through, tries to throw a big boot, and just slips. Yes, and the Big Show stumbles through.
That's like WrestleMania X7, isn't it? That's hysterical, that match.
Yep.
It's
Golf
brilliant.
cart and everything.
Oh yeah, the golf cart. Forgot about that.
I would probably say that this SmackDown was improved upon even 8 months later.
Yeah, I would say so.
The second one was way, way, way better. Still the same basic engine, but
Was it? It may have been a better game, but did it have as good as a big as cultural impact or game impact as the first one did by being first?
I don't think that's possible. I think
Well, but
in
then-
fact the first one blew the mold entirely from what you had before. And I think I'm going to say realism because that's kind of what it was compared to what you had before. Before you had two polygons fighting each other, whereas with SmackDown you had better looking polygons
yeah,
fighting
still
each other.
not
No,
as
still-
many as you get now, but yeah.
Yeah, but for PlayStation 1,
I suppose you could also say that it's the origin of the series, which is still going now.
yeah, still going now and has evolved a couple times as well. There was
Yeah.
that dark time, early 2010s where the series has sort of fallen off a cliff a little bit.
When you had like your WWF 11 and 12 and
Yeah.
13 and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
13.2, etc.
Yeah.
I also have to say that in Japan, the original couple games had a fantastic title as well. They weren't known as WWE SmackDown or WWE SmackDown.
It was.
Go on.
Tell me, I want to say like Wave the Exploding Muscle or something like that.
No, that's something else, I think. But
That's
they
our
were
third
called.
pay-per-view.
They were called Exciting Pro Wrestling,
Nice.
Hey, nice.
and its sequel Exciting Pro Wrestling 2.
That sounds like one of the kind of dodgy British Russian VHSs you get in like the late 90s. With like a big exclamation mark on it.
Exciting Pro
Wrestling.
Yeah, Exciting Pro Wrestling, not World of Sport taped off television in 1985.
no,
completely
not at all.
different.
Not at all.
Complete with the adverts. That's my pick, just for cultural
Okay.
impact, and also, it blew my little 15-year-old mind to pieces at the time because I was pretty hard into wrestling at the time, and I still am, obviously, but I'm much more cynical now because, well, I've lived through it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I always think about this, and it always brings me back to the good days. Sitting with my brother, beating him in wrestling, and then beating him in real life because he's usually throwing the controller at my head.
Nice.
Nice.
So there you go.
I think I remember buying this on release day, then taking it round to my mate's house, and we did sort of a very similar thing of just playing it to death as
Pretty
well.
much.
It was the first sort of wrestling game that really was. It was quite fast, if I remember right.
It was really fast. It was fast.
quick and it was responsive, and felt like a really fresh thing in a wrestling game.
Oh yeah, 'cause I remember playing it. Like the previous wrestling games was like, to say, the sprite-based ones. WrestleMania and Amiga, that was rubbish. Sorry.
Well, that's my pick gone then, yeah.
I remember playing. I had WWF Superstars on the Game Boy.
Oh yeah.
That was a brutal thing to play. That was, because it was just like, you just find the one move to win, and that was it.
Yeah. You ever tried to play Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy?
Yeah, I had that. I've still got the cart somewhere. I'm sure I do. That was.
I had Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy as well.
It was rough to do anything.
That was.
Yeah.
So, to kind of go from those games, which were just like really kind of, they were probably more influenced by the kind of side-scrolling beat-em-up games more than anything else.
Yes.
If you go from that into the SmackDown game, it's like, whoa, hang on, you can do stuff. This is actually quite good.
Yeah, I could sit and wallop people in the chair all day long.
All day long, as Lionel Richie once said.
Yep.
That's what the song's about, is hitting people with chairs.
Pretty much, yeah. Is Al going now, then?
I'd say I'll go.
last.
You going last?
yeah.
I thought I'm thinking of your battery.
Don't you worry about my battery.
All right.
I said that before.
That'll be the code words then, Al. That'll be the code words. Phil starts to panic. Something's afoot. Phil's not quite sure.
There are shenanigans going on here.
The shenanigans, says Phil. So anyway, mine kind of leads on from Euan's, actually.
Oh.
As we're talking on about SmackDown, because obviously SmackDown became, transferred over to the PS2, having had 2 games on the PS1. The first game on the PS2 wasn't that hot, if I remember rightly.
So SmackDown versus Raw?
No, it was...
No, sorry, it was Shut Your Mouth.
No, Shut Your Mouth was the 4th one. I think the 3rd one was Know Your Role.
I think you're...
Yes,
Just bring it. Just bring it.
Just bring it, sorry, just bring it.
That's what it was. Thank you.
The one.
Thanks, Al.
And it was quite bad because it was basically the same thing, just upscaled a little bit graphically. It had a really terrible fight in the crowd motion where a lot of cardboard cutouts sort of shuffled around past you.
Yes.
Those crowds were terrible back in the day, man.
Yeah, that's terrible.
It had Fred Durst in it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
You
probably
crush your
also
mouth.
another terrible thing. But then I think there was a period where the gameplay of the SmackDown series evolved enough towards being still accessible, but not quite the sort of full-scale attempt at a simulator they've got now.
Right.
And it also combined a perfect time with the roster that WWE had.
I think I see where you're going.
And that time is when we had 2003, which was SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain.
Oh, this game.
Yo, it's my life, my time, my rights, my rhymes, my grind, my struggle, hustle, sweat in my blood too. A predator smells fear, I smell a lot. My competitors flex here. They snuck, I was hot, I want it all. Excess, the sex, much success, stress us. I want it all, no less. So come on.
With the gurning Brock Lesnar on the cover, yeah?
With the gurning Brock Lesnar on the cover. A very young, fresh Brock Lesnar. Fresh off the SummerSlam win for his title against The Rock. We've done an episode on that, folks. You should listen. And then all those new Sun readers. And that's where I feel there's the perfect combo between the roster at the time and the gameplay being so... It was the first SmackDown game to have weight detection. So Rey Mysterio couldn't just body slam Big Show with ease.
Why not?
It was the first. Yeah, it was the
I don't
first.
realism in a video game. I want him to throw him off the.
Well,
top level or something.
it
Come
was
on.
the first WWF game to have unique body part attacks.
I was about to say it had limb damaging, limb detection, sorry.
Limb damage, so you could work on someone's legs and then get them into like a sharpshooter or figure four, and they would more likely tap out
They would
if
tap
you're working on
immediately.
that part of the body, which is part of wrestling psychology. It was also the first WWF game to introduce Legends, which these days would be paid for DLC, but back then were unlocked on the actual disc itself.
Sorry, Cam, I'm just gonna sort of just a little bit here. You say
Oh, God.
Legends, but if I remember correctly,
Excuse me.
wasn't Hillbilly Jim one of the legends?
Yes. Yes.
That is a broad use of the word legend there.
This is.
So, you've also got unconvicted probably did it murderer Jimmy Snooker.
Yes.
Did he not? Did he? Who knows? Who can tell?
And Sergeant Slaughter.
Well, these are
Red
legends.
Order
I like
paper.
Yeah, exactly. You've also got the wonderful decision they took to obviously keep Hulk Hogan out of this,
Yes.
being as he's infamously on the disc, but then obviously left the company under a cloud, so wasn't included in the final release. Nor was Jeff Hardy on it for the pretty much the same reasons.
Well, his reasons were probably a bit more spectacular than Hogan's, let's be honest.
And I just remember buying this game and having just the best fun with it.
Yeah.
It was absolutely brilliant. And I loved it to bits. And then they kind of over-egged it a little bit when they moved into SmackDown vs. Raw the year later.
Well, they were
And then, as we
over.
say, we then went through the period of time where it was WWE insert year here. And then THQ went tits up, and it's been 2K that have got the license since then. And 2K, whilst they're okay, seem to have more of a thing about making a proper simulation.
Well, they're very much a sports simulation studio.
Exactly. Yeah. It also, Here Comes the Pain also had a really cracking season mode in it,
Yes, it did.
with a fair few multiple storylines going on that weren't just yours. There was a couple of other sort of storylines going on at the same time during all the shows and all that kind of stuff.
Which you could interject yourself into if you wanted to.
Yeah, it was really, really bloody good. So my best wrestling game ever would be Here Comes the Pain.
And you can climb on a helicopter.
You can climb a helicopter, yes,
Well, that's a strong reason for it to win right there, though, really, isn't it? To be fair.
and
I
you
was
can
going to say,
you can drag people behind a motorcycle around a car park.
so you could reenact a typical Glaswegian Friday night then.
Yep. Anyway, that's my vote. That wins. So good night, everyone.
We've got one more person that has to go,
Oh, so we have.
and this is the wild card. Al, go.
Well, I thought just an honourable mention because nobody's mentioned it so far. Cameron, I didn't even know this game existed until Cameron told me. Fire Pro.
Yeah.
Really?
No, he told me about this game that he
Oh my
went for
God.
the PS2
It's so
and
great.
that he has to get it from Italy because it wasn't available in the UK.
No, for some reason the PAL version was only released in Italy of the Fire Pro returns.
Probably because of the rampant copyright that was going on with the game.
Yeah.
And then he tells me, I thought, what do I want to buy it for? I don't want that. Then he tells me you can have any wrestler ever. There's these
Yep.
patches come out, and I thought, right, I'll buy it then. So I did, and Cameron put all these wrestlers on my memory card. So yes, I've got this absolutely giant roster of God knows how many federations. I don't even know who half of them are, and they're all on my game. And I think it's a very good game, Fire Pro.
It's
Are you interested in the upcoming version now?
I
Or
might
the
have a
one
look
that's
at
on
it.
early
Yes,
release
I
on-
have seen it.
So they released
You
on
don't-
Steam, so it's available for some people. I think I saw a match. Was it Bob Ross versus? Oh, it was now.
You mean as in painter Bob Ross?
Yeah, people Bob Ross versus I don't know. It was like Jimmy Clarkson or something. Because obviously,
Okay.
the internet being what it is now, and the PC being a bit more flexible, it's like the creative wrestler on that is just insane. What's in there? It's just ridiculous. Yeah, Bob Ross. He looks like Scott Norton coming down the ramp. It's ridiculous.
carry on now.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The year was 2006, I believe.
Oh, we're off again. Jesus Christ.
Right. Game came out for the, I think it was for the PS, yeah. It was on the Xbox at the time. PS2, that's what I got it for. The PS2. I think I paid £40 for it.
Okay.
Got it home. Put it in and I thought, here we go. This is the best thing ever. This is the best thing ever. I give you TNA Impact Wrestling.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So,
Is this what?
I was sitting here playing it, and I think you had to be suicide because of some fucked up storyline. Anyway, so I was sitting it, and I thought, you know what? I wish I was playing No Mercy for the N64.
Diggity dog. Breaking. Diggity.
Hey, what a swerve!
So
Oh,
that-
bit of a dusty
of
finish
course,
in that story, then, wasn't there? Bit of an old
I
dusty
do.
finish.
I do not believe anybody doubted this was going to be my pick for a second.
I assumed it was going to be WrestleFest. I thought that's what it was going to be.
It might have been, but no Mercy came out, and it was the best game. It still is the best game. And you want about updates? People still mod it to this day with current rosters.
They do, yep.
How does that work? How do you mod an N64 game?
I have no idea.
With great
I think you
like
play it
it.
on ROMs, really, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, I figured this much, but surely somebody's going to be able to, like... Doesn't the N64 have a wee memory unit thing?
via the pad, but I'm not sure how that would patch into the game. I suppose there must be some way of doing it, but
Well, if you can save the game onto the memory card, surely there must be a way to reverse that.
at this point, can people like flash flash a cartridge with it or something with a new ROM?
Probably.
Surely,
I would imagine
yeah.
so.
Well, the cartridge was a battery. You could only save to the cartridge.
Put a new battery in it then. I mean, I'm no coder, but come on, you've got batteries.
So it was the fourth. Well, there's actually an extra game in this. Quint trilogy, is that a word? What do you call when you've got five?
A lot.
A saga.
Anyway, it started off NWO versus the World for the N64, then NWO
Oh, yes.
That's one I had, I
WCW
think.
Revenge, and then there's a WrestleMania
Nitro and-
2000.
Nitro and Thunder?
No, we're not talking about them. No, they're not in
okay.
the series. No, they don't
developer,
deserve
wasn't
mention.
it?
They deserve sense.
THQ, was it? You got the license or something?
It was some other company. It wasn't this. In
Yeah.
between WrestleMania, in between Revenge and WrestleMania, there was a game for Japan only, which I have talked about on before on mine and Cam's old podcast. When there's a Japanese exclusive game with it on, and I managed to get it and got it to work. A Japanese game on the N64, which I was happy about. But anyway, that's that was bridging the gap until they perfected it. They perfected the engine, they perfected the roster, they perfected everything about it, except they didn't perfect the stupid way it saves. So I don't know if anyone remembers this, but the original batch of No Mercy were all faulty.
Yep.
Yep.
Ouch. Don't remember that.
They're bastards. So you got it. You got it.
The venom.
It would stay for a week or so, and it would just wipe your save data for no reason at all.
Oof.
Just wipe it. So I thought, is it just my version? So we rented it from Blockbuster, and I just swapped the cartridges around, right?
Oh, come on.
What? But lo and
Goodness
behold,
me.
lo and behold, that did it as well.
I'm pleased. I'm glad that your crime wasn't, you didn't get away with your crime there.
I was in a crime. I was giving them a working cart. Well, semi-working cartridge. So, anyway, it's from Blockbuster. You're not going to keep it forever. You only have it for the weekend. It doesn't matter if it saves in a week's wipes your save in a week's time, does it? Anyway, on with the story. So, my mother wrote a letter off to THQ complaining.
No way.
Yeah,
Weird.
legitimate story.
And what was Mother
is-
Geordie Al's reply?
If you got one, I have still got the letter. THQ
It's
headed note paper.
Fantastic, by the way.
God.
And they apologise very much, and they're saying they're rectifying the problem, and as soon as the game's available, they will inform us, which they did. I had to go to Electronics Boutique for it, about 4 months after I bought the game, and we got the thing, so the new games are in. So yeah, I had to go to Electronics Boutique, buy it, and then I just played it forever after that. It's saved. I could actually do the story mode without having to start again all the time.
Was that the copy we played at the Con 4 years ago now?
It wasn't my copy, but that was the game we played.
Yeah. We
But
played
no,
the
it wasn't.
Wrestler Rumble, wasn't it? The
Yes,
Wrestler Battle
it wasn't.
Oh,
it
yes.
It wasn't my copy, no. So yeah, I got it, and what's so good about it is you can win all 6 belts. All belts has the different story modes, including the light heavyweight, the hardcore, and the women's. And what you do is you start off with a little square, and depending on what you do, you can affect the path you take. So if you lose a match, you can deliberately lose a match to give you a different branch and storyline. And that's what I think is fantastic. So to get it 100%, you've got to play it through quite a few times on each belt. But because there's 6 belts and you've got to play each belt through maybe, well, the women's you get away with about 5 times. I think the WF one you've got to play through about 7 or 8 times to get all the different storylines.
Yeah.
And all the storylines are television based, so you get the, depending on who character you are, but you get the bit, like when Jericho thought he won the title, and then he it gets stripped off him. So obviously, if you play as Jericho, it's brilliant. But I was Perry Saturn at the time, so it's not maybe not the same sort of thing. But
Well, it's a impact, really, is it? To be fair.
And then you get a bit where Mick Foley challenges you, and he goes, I don't think I'm suitable, and then his replacement's Cactus Jack. And he morphs into Cactus Jack. I try to think the other storylines, but yeah, there's literally loads of storylines from that period of time from the company. Sometimes it's actually harder to lose than win, because you're a handicap match and you've got to lose it. And I'm like, because you can't turn and face your partner to hit him. So you've got to try and position yourself between your opponent and your partner to whack him in the back. And it's like, no, I don't want to win. Stop trying to beat the other guy up. Just lose, you fucking idiot. So yes,
try to throw a match here.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, that's sometimes harder to win or lose. It's got a few legends. It's got Andre the Giant in, which was good. And it's got loads of, even the lesser characters are on it. The Kai and Tai make an appearance.
Oh, bless Kai
and some of the ones didn't make it on, like the lesser ones didn't make it on, but you can create them. All the parts are there. So, sorry, Gangrel, your creation only. As is my mate Naked Midian, and the Mean Street Posse are only created only. Poor Mean Street Posse, but then Michaels is an unlockable, Shamrock's an unlockable, and you said before, who wouldn't want to play as Vince McMahon?
Mm-hmm.
Who wouldn't want to play as Linda McMahon?
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I'm not sure why they thought that was a good unlockable, but yes, you can wrestle as Linda McMahon. You can watch in amazement as she body slams Andre the Giant.
Wow.
There's backstage as well. You can go. There's like the Acolytes pool room thing. There's the boiler room. There's a parking lot. It's all in there. And I just thought it was a thoroughly good game. You can spend all your money in the shop and buy various items of clothing. You can buy the Bossman's retro blue shirt, Undertaker's mask after Mabel sat on him. There's Mankind's original costume, loads of stupid stuff like that. So yes, that's why I enjoy No Mercy, a game that got hours and hours and hours of play, and still the best wrestling game in my opinion.
It still is certainly one of the most highly revered wrestling games, even now, sort of what, nigh on 20 years.
2000, yeah.
I think like all the kind of improvements in graphics and everything else, look at what they can do like 2K17, and people kind of go, yeah, but it's not as good as No Mercy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everyone always says, whenever a new wrestling game comes out, it's always like, oh, but is it as good as No Mercy? And is it the AKI? Aki,
yeah. I don't know.
Those were the guys that originally programmed it for THQ, and they were quite highly in demand to make another kind of wrestling game after WWE moved on with the license and gave it to Yuke's. I think they ended up making Def Jam Vendetta.
I think you are right.
Which is like No Mercy, but with rappers.
Yeah, because...
and Henry Rollins.
That's what we wanted from the game, isn't it?
Yep. But yeah, No Mercy, certainly. Because when I say, when like Euan was talking about the SmackDown games in the PlayStation, they were always seen as sort of arcade knockabouts in comparison to No Mercy on the N64, which was seen as a bit more of a simulator.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A bit more.
The same kind of feel that Fire Pro kind of slotted, wasn't it? That was more kind of measured, paced as opposed to the kind of arcadey ones.
I think it's to do with the kind of wrestling I like to watch, because I found a lot of people that had Fire Pro were into Japanese wrestling for the most part. I would say a good 75% of people that have Fire Pro had a pre-existing relationship with, be it Japan, Noah, All Japan, whatever.
Well, apart from importing, Japanese games, there's no other way to get an English language game with Japanese wrestlers in this at the moment. Really, is that apart from doing get some kind of mad import game? Like, was it the there was some good ones in the Dreamcast. I can't remember what it was called. Grand something.
Oh, hang on, that's gonna bug me. I know what you mean. So, hang on.
Grand Coliseum.
That may be it. You had. Royal Rumble, that won't be it. You also had Giant Gram 2000, All Japan Wrestling.
Yeah, there's some old Japan. Remember, Brab and Constantine were talking about one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, there was
review, I think.
There was a New Japan game, Toko Wrestleden.
The point is this, like, because there's been this kind of hotbed of Japanese wrestling games that we just don't really see that much. Or we kind of get the odd kind of side bits of it, like, you know.
Yeah. I think No
Mercy and those kind of games came from a Japanese studio, didn't they? I think. Cause,
Yeah. No Mercy was the ideal kind of westernized version of them, of those Japanese wrestling games.
Because going back to when Al said about it being like a Quinn trilogy, I had WCW versus NWO for the N64. So I had the first, would have been the first one of that. Even though, like, I look at screenshots, and I cannot remember it at all. I definitely had it. Because I remember playing Ultimate Dragon all the time. Ultimate Dragon was cool, and that's like my entire history with that game.
Nice. I never had No Mercy because I didn't have an N64 at the time. No, didn't have an N64.
I have found my copy of the set letter.
Oh my god.
Oh, go on then, Al. Let's read it.
Dated April 4th, 2001. Dear customer, we are pleased to advise you that we have successfully identified and fixed the save game glitch in the Nintendo 64 game WF No Mercy. From the week commencing 9th of April, new copies of No Mercy will be available from games retailers. Please note, this is in brackets, the revised game does not include any new wrestlers, matches, or other gameplay features.
What?
The revised game can be identified by the new barcode located on the back of the box in the bottom right hand corner. The new number will end in 030304, whereas a number on existing copies end with 028646. You should not accept a replacement or buy a new copy bearing the same barcode as the existing copies, as it will not be from new stock. If you are still in ownership of a glitched version of No Mercy, you can obtain a replacement game by returning your faulty copy to the place of purchase together with the receipt. This includes online and mail order purchases. If you no longer have your receipt, or there are other circumstances that prevent you from returning the game, like Virgin, who couldn't be asked to order any more copies, that bit's not in the letter. You may take your faulty game to any electronics boutique or game high street retail outlet. They will be happy to provide you with a replacement regardless of where you purchased the original game from. That's what I had to do. If you have any difficulties obtaining a replacement, please contact us either by telephone, on the number above, by post, or via email. I'll skip the email address. We would like to take this opportunity to apologise for any inconvenience and frustration, yes, lots of frustration, this situation has caused, and thank you for your patience while we have conducted our investigations. We hope you can still enjoy the game as it was intended for your experience. We look forward to bringing you more from the World Wrestling Federation Entertainment. Oh, it's got World Wrestling Federation Entertainment. I didn't
fucking
think
pandas.
Yeah, I didn't think they changed.
I was heading away.
In the future, yours sincerely, the THQ Customer Support Team. There you go. And I've kept that letter for 16 years now.
That will probably be winning an award for the politest patch notes ever.
Absolutely. Whereas nowadays it's tweet. It's fucking fixed. Stop moaning at me. And
yeah, it's like download this, and it'll just be version 1.2. And it's like various software fixes.
Shit works now. Play it.
That'll be it.
Unless it's Public Underground. Unless it's Player Unknown Underground, which is just broken all the time.
Yeah. That is pretty cool. For a little bit of memorabilia. Just a quick question. Has anyone heard of Super Pro Wrestle on YouTube?
Yes.
You have?
No.
Yeah, because you told me in a tweet.
Which, basically...
No, you. Sorry, no, Cameron. What is Super
Pro Wrestle is a rather wonderful simulated wrestling federation that a fella called Adam, who is quite a wrestling fan, he's also behind the Twitter account Wrestling Without Context.
Okay.
He's Adam. I've met him. He's a cool guy. He comes to ICW shows. And he tweeted me. I asked him, I said, hey, Adam, what's your best ever wrestling game? And he said, gameplay-wise, the No Mercy / WCW NWO Revenge type ones. As far as AI depth goes, Fire Pro. So that's his vote.
Yeah.
There you go.
If you go on YouTube and search for Ginger Pimpernel, you'll get his username. And he has the Super Pro Wrestler. He does like shows every single night of the week, I think. It's all just basically made up wrestlers with... But the actual physical attributes are people he knows or knows online in real life.
Who would do that, Cameron?
I don't know who would do that. But I made my debut, and currently I'm called No Gimmick Cam, I think.
Nice.
Because I haven't got a gimmick yet. So I've literally got like, it's my head and like a Stone Cold type, like black trunks and black boots and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just called
I've got your gimmick, Cameron.
What's that?
You're going to be the Scottish Danish Chicodino from DDC, who if you don't know, is an extremely gay gimmick.
Thanks for that, Euan. Thanks.
To the
I
point
would
where
have
his...
thought like the lack of a gimmick would become the gimmick.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I don't know if that was where it was going, because it's just No Gimmick Cam at the minute.
This comes out the t-shirt saying, I don't have a gimmick.
Yep. I was in a kind of royal...
Well, I've had
No,
the t-shirt list early.
Your gimmick is you don't have a gimmick and you're proud of it.
Yep. No gimmicks. No thrills.
At least in our federation,
No gimmicks and thrills. I like that. That's a t-shirt now, that is.
You had a gimmick in our federation.
I had a gimmick in Carlisle Wrestling.
Say that one.
Yeah, you finish your move with the GTS.
It was the Get to Scotland.
I'm for the GTF to get to fuck.
Get
Yep.
K Scotland.
Yep, I had the GTS. I had the same finishing move with CM Punk in the Carlisle Wrestling Simulated Federation that one of Al's mates had going. And that was my finisher, was the Get to Scotland.
We'll have that as a t-shirt as well. This has been a good, productive podcast with t-shirts.
It's been a good
Yes.
staff meeting.
It's a good meeting. T-shirts
Right.
that no one was to buy.
We've got the Way of Exploding Muscle pay-per-view.
Yes.
Get to Scotland t-shirt in the style of the CM Punk.
There was a wrestling game called Way of Exploding Muscle.
Well, Google it and find out for us.
What is it? The exploding muscle. Exploding.
Oh, no. Oh, Euan's going to
I'll
wait
be
fine.
careful what you're typing into Google here.
Wait,
Yeah,
Exploding
get
Muscle.
safe search on.
Exploding Muscle Wrestling, which was Saturday Night Slam Masters in Japan.
That's it.
Nice.
There you go.
Mike Hagar.
I've got Slam Masters, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were going to mention Slam Masters actually, Al.
I did forget about it, but yeah, I've got Slam Masters.
It was,
Which is
I tell you
by
what, it was actually called Muscle Bomber: The Body Explosion.
Wow.
That's actually even better. That's amazing.
Japan is the best, man. It's got
Muscle
the best name for
Bomber.
everything.
But you can just it should be said in like a proper Japanese voice. Muscle Bomber!
Muscle Bomber!
Okay.
In Tokyo!
Oh God.
Anyways, right.
Well, welcome to our Japanese Scottish sun readers.
Bong.
Yeah, not racist at all.
Diggity, diggity dog. Breaking. Diggity, diggity dog.
So we've got our 4 games. Yeah, we've got
Yes.
4 games.
Yep.
We've got 'em. I picked
Right.
Extreme Warfare Wrestling Revenge for the PC.
Right.
Euan picked WWE SmackDown for the PS1. Cameron picked WWE SmackDown Here Comes the Pain for the PS2.
Yes.
And Geordie Owl picked WrestleFest for the arcades. No, he picked WWF No Mercy for the Nintendo 64.
Yes.
So those are the contenders for the greatest video game of all time.
So
Which one's
let's-
gonna win, boys? Which one's gonna win?
let's whittle it down. Which one's out straight away?
Mine.
Okay, done.
Okay.
I knew it was going to be. I went in low. I just thought I don't want to a wall of fighting games. I'll have something else. But as long as it's mentioned, talked about, I respect that.
I think it's only fair that only one, mine or Cameron's, goes up against Al's because it's 2 different eras we're talking about.
Of the same series.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So what do we think? Actually, Phil, what do you think?
No, I'm not breaking this up because I'll have the full force of Cameron's political might down on me at some point. So
There is no political might at all.
say that.
It's not.
Say that. But there's two
laugh.
podcasts that prove otherwise.
You're expecting politicking when there is none to be had.
Because I've gone through two podcasts of being brutally,
Undermined.
slapped in the face. Yeah, brutally.
Yeah, it's like,
So third time, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me three times.
3 times?
That's 20 quid.
Yeah.
Yep.
The point is,
Well-
I'm not picking.
Okay.
Wow.
You two can have like a little throwdown over this.
Alright, okay.
Okay. So,
I'd put forward the notion that the Here Comes the Pain has a bit more going for it as it was on more modern technology.
but also it's feeding off of the success of the original SmackDown game, which
this is good,
admittedly laid the foundations.
But if you were to ask your average layman now which of those two games they would think of first and would revere more, I would argue that they would have Here Comes the Pain higher up on the list.
Okay.
Would they be thinking that with the Ewan? Would they?
I'm happy to go
Technically,
there.
if they can't remember it's called He Come the Pain, they'll just call it SmackDown.
That's a good point. That is a very good point.
But it's
So it would just be Ewan's, wouldn't it?
they were identified by their subtitles in that kind of era
They were until 2009.
until you got
10?
SmackDown versus Raw 2006. I think.
Six was the first.
Yeah, it was 6.
Okay.
You had SmackDown versus Raw 2005, but it wasn't called that. It was just called SmackDown versus
Shite.
Raw.
I did wonder whether they never like Pokemon those games. Like a Raw game and a SmackDown game.
What, like Austin Green?
I think that was going to be the original plan, wasn't it? At one stage, it was going to be like the WrestleMania games were going to be on the GameCube. No,
That was the
GameCube
case.
the GameCube was going to get Day of Reckoning, and the WrestleMania games were going to be in the Xbox. And then the SmackDown games were going to be in the PlayStation, but then they ditched that a few years down the line and just had
remember-
the same one. across all
I
of them.
remember playing WWF Raw on the original Xbox. It was fucking atrocious.
Raw 2 gets a good write-up, though.
I've not played this, I can't really say, but the first one was terrible.
I don't know.
But, okay, so we're now down to, I think, Here Comes the Pain and No Mercy.
Are we? That was easy.
Well, I'm happy to concede.
Okay,
to that
fair
one.
enough. Right, okay. Right,
Now-
okay.
You've got, on our side, you've got a game that's been kicking about for a long time now. It's still fully active as a game right now, compared to a game that people are probably still playing right now, but doesn't have the same appeal because you cannot alter it in the same way
No,
and keep
folk
it as
haven't really altered
fresh
it as much. No.
as you can the other ones. So if it comes down to it, as much as I don't want to do it because of the Bushwhackers incident, I'm going to side with Al.
You're going to go with Al?
I'm going to go with No Mercy.
Oof. Oof. Which means Phil has to come in.
Phil?
I've got to come out right. I mean, to be fair, like, when people say what is the best video game, the answer, as per the mentions we've got on Twitter, it's No Mercy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's No Mercy. That's always the one that people come back to. Is like, it's not as good as that game.
Yeah, it's always it's the bar that everyone sets for any new wrestling game. Is it as good as No Mercy?
That's
It's
always the
always
first question, isn't it? Yeah, it's always the first
Yeah.
question. So I think it's got to be. Does that make Geordie out a three-peat champion?
It would.
I think
It does.
Just two. No, just two. I think I didn't win the last one, did I?
No, I won the Intercontinental one.
That's
That's
true.
true.
He's a
So
double champion now.
let's be he's won 2 in a row.
First two-time champion.
Whatever the next subject is, I've got no chance. But thanks very much, guys.
Yeah, we'll do best Japanese wrestling. That's it.
Oh, but perfect. I'm winning that one.
We'll win that one, will he?
As Al nominates Taka Michinoku winning the light heavyweight championship.
Oh,
Indeed.
That one time Taka nearly died at the 2000 Royal Rumble by landing in his face.
Yes, exactly.
So,
So are we saying that No Mercy is the best wrestling game?
the
ever?
I think we're saying
Conquistabores have decreed that the best wrestling game ever made is WWE No Mercy on the glorious Nintendo 64.
Wonderful.
Huzzah.
Al, what's the address on that letter of yours? We'll write them a note just to say that.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
You have been
won as it
you have been
arrives in this this derelict building,
As it arrives in what's probably now McDonald's.
which is actually full. The foundations are full of like old copies of non-battery saving No Mercy on the N64.
They wanted to send to the same desert as all the ET games are buried.
Yeah.
It was full.
With notes on them top saying, "We're never going to get rid of these, Bob.
Never going to get rid of these.
How do we get rid of all this plastic?"
Do not open dead
Can't
inside.
even recycle it. Oh my god, what have we done? What have we done?
What have we done? Melt them down.
Yeah. Oh God, imagine that.
What is next month's agenda, gentlemen?
Well, next month we're back on the pay-per-view train.
Yeah. And
We are.
We're back on my pick.
Are
We are.
on Phil's pick. Oh,
I've seen what it is, and I'm very interested in it.
Well, because I think we're about to hear Geordie Dell battery run out / and put the phone down.
Hang on. Before we go any further, the deal was I was always told it's got to be on the network.
It is on the
Yeah,
network.
it is.
Oh God. And just sort of prepare
Wait a
myself.
second. The deal.
it-
We never discussed a deal.
Is it in the past 5 years or is it a retro?
It's retro.
It's very retro.
Oh, Alan, is it retro?
Well, no, you're talking up. You're talking
have you
up
gone?
a bit, yeah.
Have you gone really? You said you were going to go
We've gone so
Really?
retro.
really retro.
Because
Phil's
I've got
gone
a
back to
feeling I
almost
know what
black and
this
white.
is.
last time we said you never go back to back WCW, and we went back
Oh,
to back WCW. So why don't we go back to back to back
It's a threesome.
WCW with quite literally one of the first ever pay-per-views in the form of Starcade 1983, A Flair for the Gold!
Oh my god!
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
And technically, this is not WCW, it's NWA.
Exactly. So it's kind of not back to
Can
back
I
to back, but
Kind
kind
of
of
suggest something.
No.
kind of no.
No. It's just let me finish before
Go
you all
then.
shoot me down in the flames that you've got a fan in there.
Okay.
I thought about this once before, and I've never seen Starcade 83. Now, I'm absolutely fine doing it. I know we don't
He
always
says.
have. I know we always don't have time to watch stuff and all the rest of it. But
Yeah.
just as a little experiment, I don't know if anyone would be kind enough to humour me.
Mhm.
Why don't we change the format just slightly, just very slightly?
What?
No, let me finish. And do a compare and contrast episode.
Oh, I like it.
Oh my goodness.
So, what I'm proposing is we also watch the first WrestleMania, and we can compare the two shows.
I
to
like
see-
it.
to see what is, because I know what'll win. I think I know what'll probably win, sort of entertainment wise. But then I think I know what'll win wrestling wise. I think it would be a good. I think it
That's
might
it.
be a good little.
Actually, I have a better
experiment.
idea. Not whole watch the whole thing, but we'll compare the two main event, the semi-main event and the main event.
Yeah. Maybe a couple of matches. Yeah, I like that. Why don't we do the three? Why don't we do the three title matches? The tag, the Intercontinental, and the. Well, there's not a proper title match in WrestleMania 1, but the main event.
Okay.
How
Nice.
does that sound?
All right, I'll go with that.
Yeah. As long as we can record it in less than an hour and a half.
We should be able to, yeah. I mean,
What are we on tonight, by the way?
after the show, we're fine. We're 10
Hour and a half
minutes.
we've been recording, I think.
Yeah, just under.
Okay, so my pick's been overruled apparently.
No, it's not been overruled.
overruled.
Complimented.
It's been
It's been
So
altered.
easy to get a rise out of him. Starcade 83 across WrestleMania 1.
We're calling this
It saves you watching the shite again if I have to choose WrestleMania 1 for my pick.
a good point. I'm just going to look at the card for Starcade 83. There's a match that stands out right away.
There's one that I think will be. There's one match with quite historical importance on that card.
It's not the one I'm thinking of then.
Is it not the Piper Greg Valentine dog collar match?
That's right, that's one. But
There's a reason why it's historically important, but I think we should leave that until the podcast.
yes,
So.
but
Okay.
also this card also contains our favourite completely useless wrestler in Abdul the Butcher.
Oh, yes.
Carlos Colon.
The youngster from Royal Rumble. whatever it
93.
was. 93. Here comes the youngster, Carlos Colon. He's about 40, Gorilla. Come on.
40,
Easily in his
50,
40s.
60.
The problem is, I remember that line live. Well, I say live, when I watched it at the time. And I never questioned it because he knows everything. Of course,
Gorilla knows. He must be a youngster.
He just must just be like, look a bit old. That's all.
He's just,
So,
just the road that they travel as a wrestler ages them, isn't it? That's what it is.
it's okay. We'll do this for the next show, but I'll fix things when it's my pick in the following month. We'll get back on track.
Oh boy,
Oh,
Well.
that sounds
ominous.
ominous.
Just you wait.
And then after that will be Al's pick for the next one, and then after that will be Karen's.
So after my pick, it's WrestleMania 9, and
no,
Is
telling you.
that
WrestleMania
Greg
9 is either a live show or it's the final one ever.
live show.
Is that Greg Valentine match for the US title or not?
It is
Can't remember.
not.
Don't think so.
It's just
a
a because there's a TV Championship match, a World Tag match, and a Heavyweight Championship match. I think that's just the grudge match, the Doc
I was
Collar
hoping
match.
it was for the US title because Valentine's in the Intercontinental title match as well at WrestleMania 1, so I thought it would be good having two Valentine matches.
Well,
side by
to be
side.
fair, the TV Championship match has got a double gimmick because it's title versus mask as well.
It's going to be an interesting one, this one. 'Cause it's
It is.
right back to the beginning, but we've never gone back that far before.
Before we go, I'm going to bring things to the modern era. I'm assuming everyone here has heard the horrible news about Yoshihiro Takayama.
Paralysed in the ring.
Yeah, not good.
It won't surprise you to hear, no, I haven't.
Well, I'm not surprised at that, but I think everyone who knows Takayama knows him from the infamous fight with Don Fry at Pride, where basically it was Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
I've seen like YouTube clips where it's like, oof.
Yeah, he's in a mess by the end, but he was wrestling for, I think it was All Japan, if I remember correctly, and basically took a back drop and landed just wrong, basically.
Yeah.
How long
And
ago
is now
was this? How long ago was this?
last week this happened.
Oh, right, so I don't... Right, that's
It's pretty recent. I think the news came out last week.
Yeah.
But obviously he's now paralysed from the waist down, I think it is.
It's a bit of a rough year because obviously there was that in the injury to Shibata that left him paralysed. Which,
In a way, it's not surprising, but in a way, I'm absolutely gutted.
yeah, because the style he worked, he was working on borrowed time the way he worked.
Well, yeah, he was, let's be honest. I mean, even the match we watched for the podcast was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but it's just that headbutt spot, man, was just...
Yeah, that's what did it.
Yeah.
And on a happier note, I think Cameron's day was made a few days ago, thanks to ICW. Your pal's back.
Yes, my pal's back.
Yep.
Yes, my Jimmy Havoc is going to be at Fear and Loathing, and it's going to be great, and there's going to be lots of blood.
Yep, because it's a 4-way death match.
Yes, and it's going to be absolutely amazing.
to his voice, it's like Christmas.
Yeah,
And he's the king of the goths.
He is. He is the king of the goths. King of the goths.
My favourite
CZW.
pal's back as well.
Yes, Al's favourite
Oh,
pals
yes.
in Carlisle a week tonight.
Oh, no, I meant to Fear and Loathing.
Which
Go
one's
on.
that?
I say that favourite pal very sarcastically.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Rey Mysterio is going to be... I just sent Al a message going, yeah, you can verbally abuse him in person.
The man who single-handedly destroyed kayfabe.
Well, what's the betting that someone in ICW's got to do that lying across the middle rope thing accidentally?
Oh, I'm putting money on it now.
Oh, God.
Someone will just trip up and it'll end up being like, oh, yep.
They always land in the middle of the rope in every single match.
I'm just curious with the 4 of these guys in that match. It's for those who don't know, it's Jimmy Havoc against Chris Renfrew against Mikey Whiplash against I forgot his real, what name is he using these days?
Stevie Xavier.
Stevie Xavier. So one of those ones don't match to begin with, and the other 3 are mental. And
Yep.
Havoc is the TOD champion from this year.
Yep. So it's going to be absolutely bloody crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's going to be amazing. Not the only reason that Fear and Loathing is going to be amazing, but that was certainly a big help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that does always help.
Oh,
You
yes.
know what Survivor Series?
Do you want to watch Survivor Series afterwards, Al?
Well, I need to see the card first, possibly.
Oh, okay.
I'll have Goldberg with Lesnar 4 or whatever number we're up to now.
Well, it'll only be in the last 35 seconds or something like that, won't it? So it'll be fine.
Yeah. Then off to bed, job done.
That'll be the one where it lasts 30 seconds, but they both knock each other out at the same time. It ends up being like a Street Fighter double KO.
It'd be amazing.
Oh.
Imagine that.
I guess we should go.
I think that concludes tonight's business, yeah. Unless anyone else has got anything to say.
No, we've crowned the best ever video game.
We have. Yes.
Al is strutting about in his scepter right now.
Yeah. Any listeners want to give us feedback on Starcade 83 / WrestleMania 1? Feel free.
Yep.
Al's got a surprisingly good battery because he's still here.
I thingy the screen. I've just turned the screen off, so I think that's saving us.
There's the hacker over there with his tips and tricks. So yeah, that was a good podcast, boys.
It was a good podcast. And no political engineering whatsoever. Did you notice that?
Of course not. You're going to reveal the final, like, prestige-style twist. Like, you're going to rip your face off in your owl or something, I don't know.
What, no, like, No Mercy was my pick all along?
Yeah.
Yeah, we might do that.
Might or might not, Phil.
Might or might not, yeah. But, might happen.
Wait until you're like in bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and you get a phone call. It was me!
It
was me, Austin!
Phil, I'll appear in your house.
Terrifying.
Imagine that. Just
No.
me sat on your windowsill. Philip.
Philip.
Hunched over like an owl, just tapping on the window.
Yes, it's like, Philip. That'd be amazing.
Oh, Jesus, Cameron, go away.
Just sitting there, bouncing on your windowsill.
I was going to say cock, but that's inappropriate.
On that image,
Yeah, on that image.
we'll go.
Thanks, Euan.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Conquistabores have left the building.
So we got 3 pay-per-view names now.
So what, we've got title with the DSC.
Spit Against Democracy. And Way the Exploding Muscle.
Way of the Exploding Muscle. That'll be an amazing name for a pay-per-view.
That'd be amazing to pay for that.
That'll be like a Tokyo Dome one, as we say. Way of Exploding Muscle!
Way of the Exploding Muscle!
For Tokyo Dome! That'd be great.